Why did you pick to be a vegan chef?
Oh, man. Well, I studied culinary arts in Cape Town, and it was just a generic study in all cuisines. And then when I was supposed to graduate college, I had to find my own job. And I happened to find a job at a restaurant that happened to be a vegan restaurant. And at that time in Cape Town, veganism was still new, and it was a cafe. So I stayed at that cafe, turned it into a restaurant for about 5 years. Became the head chef of that restaurant, and I realized that I'm actually quite good at this, and it's a niche market, so that's why I chose it.
Are you vegan yourself?
Plant-based, not vegan. So there's a difference between...
There's what? Plant-based?
Yeah, plant-based, you kind of take... okay, so vegetarian, right? So there's a vegetarian... You
not eating meat.
Not eating meat, but you eat the byproducts of the animal, like you eat the milk. The cheese, eggs. And then there's vegan, where you don't eat the meat nor the byproducts. So
you don't eat the meat or the byproduct. What do you eat?
That's when I come in now, and then we create meat substitutes, like vegan burgers, using things like soy chunks, using things like soy, a lot of peanuts, things like that. So I'm not vegan, but I'm plant-based because I still love things like eggs and things like that. So yeah.
Oh, okay, that's interesting. Were you all? So it's only after you joined that restaurant that you decided you're going to go the vegan route
and learn about it.
That's absolutely interesting. Now, was this always your career path, or did you literally land yourself into it after school and then figured, listen, like you said, I'm good at this, so let me just do it?
Literally after college, when I stayed at that restaurant cafe. I realized that there's no one in Zimbabwe or in Cape Town, especially people of color, who are promoting veganism. And I was the first to get to the door. So when I came to Zim, I was literally the first one. And right now, I was just like, I don't see myself doing anything else. Yeah.
Let's talk about the breakthrough in the culinary arts industry now. Usually we talk about what it's like to be in movies and on radio but food, the industry. Talk to us about the challenges that you face, the beautiful moments, your most memorable moments as well.
Challenges, being in the culinary industry as a female, it's very male-dominated. And I think it's because of the long working hours. But then one of the highlights is that it's taught me a lot of discipline. So most of the things that I've learned in the kitchen, I've also put in my personal life. And the highlights have been meeting new people, traveling the world, and just explaining to people that veganism is not a diet that's like a trendy diet. It's going to be here to stay, and it's very important that we just get with the program.
I know that you grew up in New York, but your parents are Zimbabwean. Now, please can you talk about that difference in lifestyles, not only food-wise, but just in lifestyles and the acceptance of things like vegan food?
Ah, man, growing up in New York, so I was born here in Zim, then moved to New York when I was 3. My mom is Zimbabwean and my dad is Zambian, but I was raised in a single-parent home, so my mom moved us to New York. So being a single mom, she literally didn't have a lot of time to cook for us. So it was fast food all the time. So that was basically where I learned like my world cuisine in New York, because you can walk down the street and get cuisines from Italians, Indians, everyone in the world. So that's when I kind of fell in love with food. And when we moved back to Zim, there wasn't really the biggest fast food chain that was Nando's. And I remember...
At that particular time,
And a Nando's chip and a McDonald's chips is 2 different things. I really didn't like it, but then it still taught me to love more food and taste flavor.
You got to take part in Battle of the Chefs. Now, talk to us about that. How did you even become a contestant? Did they contact you? Do you apply? How did you land yourself there?
Yeah, that was crazy. Battle of the Chefs, I think there was a public call for about 250 people applied to Battle of the Chefs, and they chose 50 people. And then at the end, I came out number 9 in the competition. So, and I was the only vegan chef. It was a bit of a challenge because we had to work with things like meat, etc. But then it also boosted my career.
Oh, so they didn't take into account the fact that you were a vegan chef.
They didn't care.
Really and truly, what was that like for you? Because now you have to move out of your bounds.
It was.
Yeah, apply yourself.
That's the thing. So I was already building my brand as a vegan chef for years. So now entering a competition and then touching meat, you have a fan base already. So I kind of lost a few fans, but then at least, hey. it is what it is.
Is it that personal? Is it really that personal with vegans when you're around meat? So what do you do if you go to a family function and you know us being Zimbabweans, you're going to have the magurus
You need the
and
meat.
your sadza and
Exactly.
a little bit of vegetables probably mixed in the meat.
Yeah.
What do you do to also try and make sure you don't make people feel like you're trying to be bougie? Because I can imagine.
The good thing is that at the family functions, I'm the one who's usually responsible for the food and cooking in the kitchen. So at least I can make my own meals. And then also with this whole vegan thing, a lot of our elders are on plant-based vegan diets for health reasons.
Oh, yeah.
So most of them actually appreciate the food that I make because they can't eat red meat for gout or things like that.
Konapo, ipapo, by ZTN Prime, DSTV channel 294, the place to be.